Awesome. Okay, welcome everyone to episode 4 of the Fit Foodie Roadshow, the virtual Fit Foodie Roadshow, where we're interviewing industry experts and helping you have a more holistically healthy quarantine time here at home. Today I have with me two of my favorite chefs that ever walked the land, Mara and Ryan. So hi, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. They have a company called 2Chefs in Austin, Texas. And 2Chefs, they're husband and wife, private chef duo. So they actually create customized, healthy weekly meals for families to eat in their homes. Mara and Ryan Wollen have been working in the culinary field for a combined 38 years. They cook with a variety of flavors from all over the world and choose to cook seasonally and use as many local products as possible. In addition, Mara is a nutritional therapy practitioner and uses her education to provide delicious meals for clients with all types of dietary restrictions or food allergies and sensitivities. And I was lucky enough that they used to live here in Hawaii, and they actually cooked for me for a little while when I was doing the autoimmune protocol. Was that 2 years ago? A couple of years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
It was that long, yeah.
Oh, maybe a year and a half.
Maybe a year and a half, yeah. Can confirm it was delicious and amazing. So you can find them, you can actually cook alongside with them on their own YouTube channel, which is Cooking with 2Chefs, and I'll put links to all of that in the show notes. And they basically demonstrate their favorite recipes and share really easy tips and tricks to make your meal preparation more simple and successful. They're on social media, on Facebook and Instagram at 2chefs.food, and that's the number 2 chefs.food. And current projects, which I'm excited to ask you guys about in a bit here. They're currently in the process of creating some online cooking courses for home cooks. So that's one thing. And then another program for professional chefs who are looking to move from the traditional culinary scene, the restaurant industry, into the private chef world, which you guys have done so successfully now in 3 markets, which is kind of mind-blowing to think about.
Yeah, it is.
So great. So I'm so excited that you are here with us today. And today we're going to focus on how to set up your kitchen to have your home cooking be streamlined, successful, easy, simple. Like if you were to walk into a restaurant kitchen, it's very different than what most of our home kitchens look like.
Yes.
Right? So we were talking before this that your kitchen is basically set up like a restaurant kitchen, and you're going to give us some ideas about how to do that at home and how to have it be, for most of us that are now cooking most of our meals at home, it can be really time consuming. I know people are like complaining about the dishes and all of the different things. It's a lot, right?
Oh, yep.
Yeah. Thank you so much for being here. And anything
thanks for having us.
for you guys over in Austin right now, or
It's good. It's different.
It's real different.
Took a while. Well, we went from Los Angeles to Hawaii and then to Austin. So it's been a whirlwind of about 3 years. So
that's
And
right.
we're originally from the Pacific Northwest, so like this is the first time we've ever not lived by the ocean, and it's kind of weird.
it's really bizarre.
That's the weirdest like headspace to like get over, like the hurdle for me. But there's lots of nature here. It's okay.
That's good. Well, tell me, so you were sharing with me a little bit before we hit record about kind of what your business looks like now. And I think for people who are thinking about whether they're in Austin and they can actually get you, or whether they're thinking about hiring a personal chef right now, I think it's important to think about the different, and I've had this, I don't know if you've been in the nutritional therapy group looking at the conversation that's been happening about how do you make takeout food safe and what do you do once it's home? But, we're talking about the standards that chefs are held to anyway. And then kind of, can you just share a little bit about the difference of, the small differences that have happened since the quarantine happened, what you've been doing differently for your clients so people can understand kind of the safety issues here?
Yeah, so standard in any like professional kitchen is a really high sanitized sort of standard.
Yeah.
They are very conscious about like cross-contamination, bacterial things, heat and cold and just temperature safety. There's just so much that we have to be sort of on the front of all the time. And so with this, it didn't really change too much for us. However, we are no longer cooking in our clients' homes. We are doing it in our home to control all of our environment. And we have a stay-at-home order here as well. And so we don't have anyone coming to our place. It's just us. We don't have any animals. We don't have anything in here that would cause us to not have those sanitation standards. So we're pretty good. I will say for us, and a recommendation I have for other people, this is just a little inside info from someone who cooks in other people's homes. One advice I will say is remove as many things from your countertops as humanly possible that do not serve a function in your kitchen. Just get them out of your kitchen. They just don't need to be there, because it's just causing more areas for like bacteria to live or just for food to go. It's one more thing you have to clean, like you mentioned. Everyone's getting tired of dishes. Like when we set up and break down, whether we're in someone else's home or we're in our own, we have to go through the entire environment already and like sanitize and do the whole cleaning process before we can even start cooking. So if I had a bunch of things on the counter that I would like have to remove or have to clean first, I would be doing it twice for every, situation that we're cooking for. So minimize that. Also, from working in people's homes, the counter space is like a priority.
Yeah.
You need counter space to work safely and to actually have the space to like do what you need to do, especially when you're prepping more than just one meal. So having the most clear counter space as possible is like gonna save you night and day. Like it's just, you're gonna work so much more efficiently and have that space. So that alone is enough reason to clear stuff. So and some stuff is like we have to remove, like we've got our coffee setup is like on a tray, like a sheet tray, so you can just move it off really quick and easily, get it out of the way, and then clean and go from there. But we don't have appliances out on the counters taking up space. We don't have any sort of like decorative things. It's mostly all functional things, or it gets removed before we even start. So those are some like really basic key things.
Nice.
I think also for us and having to pivot our service a little bit, we are literally just door drop only. Everything is done, payment is done over Square, so it's like we don't have to deal with anyone touching anyone's cards or anything. We wear gloves for the drop off. We're using paper bags that are then recycled afterwards for the drop off. Like everything is done
to the new standards.
To the newest, highest standards.
Yeah.
Even our containers, we tell people too, like once you get our stuff, it's in reusable containers, like plastic disposable, recyclable containers. However, we encourage them to save them, and then we bring them home, we wash them, we high heat sanitize them. But we did have one client who was worried that they were susceptible, and so what they would do is then they would get our stuff, they would put gloves on, they would transfer the products into their own containers, and then immediately just like throw them in the dishwasher and then set them out for us to pick up the following week. So like there's plenty of precautions that everyone can take. We use gloves, we're using face masks, like the new sort of standard. We want to make sure that we're following the rules and laws with anything extra. But other than that, like we're kind of already, we already operate like, it's like doctors. They didn't really have to do that much more. They were already kind of operating at that standard.
Right. Totally. I think that's really important for people to understand that like, you have to take a test to be able to have a business where you're a personal chef or where you're working in a restaurant. You have to have a, and I talk to my husband about this a lot too, because I have taken the food handler's permit test much more recently than he has. And, he was like a waiter in college or whatever, but, I'll be like, what temperature do you think that sauce is? Like, he'll make food and then he'll leave something out on the counter while we're watching a show. And I'll come back and I'll be like, oh, what do you think is happening right now? Like, we're in the danger zone. Like, it's 40 and 140 degrees. That is where bacteria grows. And I'll go off on him. I'll be like, okay, I'll throw it away.
Yeah.
Like, and there's some, you can probably boil a lot of it. And it's, it's to a restaurant standard. Maybe you don't need to go that far in your own home if no one is coming in and out and you do have like, your whatever, you're sanitizing everything. But
Yeah.
it's just a funny quirk that I have from working for so long and having to take that test so many times. Like, yeah. So I want people to understand that if you are getting, even if you are getting takeout, if you are getting food from, a private chef or a personal chef or whatever, they're going to be following those standards. So, anything that you can do to, like you're doing the drop off and people aren't necessarily interacting with you, inside the 6 feet or 10 feet or whatever it is now. It's definitely there's some higher level of standard than probably what you're doing at home with your food.
For sure. Yeah, I think people can rest assured that anybody in the food industry is taking all the precautions necessary. So
yeah, totally. So as far as setting up our kitchens at home, so you started already with the little advice of taking things off the counter, which I will admit I am guilty of. You saw pictures when we bought this house of our kitchen. It's giant. We have a ton of counter space.
Yeah.
I have an air fryer. I have a stovetop popcorn maker that is usually on the counter. I have an Instant Pot that is often on the counter. And then I have like 18 jars of loose leaf tea and herbs that are right next to my teapot is on a tray, but I probably don't need all those mason jars. So I'm taking mental notes here too about how I can just like streamline this process. But what else would you say? How can we set up our kitchens to be more effective or efficient?
Well, we have quite a few of you've probably seen the industrial rack systems that are in most professional kitchens. We have a few of those kind of placed all over the house. We have one in our storage, and basically all those appliances, because we do have a lot of those appliances too. We have an air fryer, we got all that, but we keep it on that rack. We keep it out of the kitchen. And I think
off the counters.
Not everybody has a lot of space, but you do best what you have. But I would say to kind of use that method to kind of store away maybe just under the countertops and stuff like that. I just think a minimal setup kind of frees your mind. It kind of eases the stress of the kitchen. It does a lot of things, but it's organized, it's simple. It kind of gives you clearer thoughts to just focus on food instead of going in this chaotic area. So I think it's important.
Yeah.
Plus, I think too, just working in other people's homes and seeing how their kitchens flow and their function and maybe their organization or non-organization is a huge insight for us to see why other people may be struggling so much with not wanting to do what we do for them. I mean, it can be simple things where some houses, they have more than enough room and empty cupboards because they just don't have enough stuff to fill them, and that's great. But there's also ones where it's very kind of cluttered or mismatched. There's no real rhyme or reason to their drawers and their organization, and or a whole cupboard of containers, but you don't know where the lids are. Just all that sort of stuff. It's hard when you're in the middle of cooking and you don't know where that spatula is or that plate or whatever you need when you're in the middle of that process can really hinder you, and it can just slow you down, and it just adds to I don't want to do this. I don't want to cook. If your area isn't organized and set up for you to actually do your meal prep really quick and efficiently, it's not fun. So for us, we end up bringing in all of every possible thing we would need to produce the weekly menus for our clients. The only thing we actually end up using for them is sometimes their pots and pans. Sometimes we even have to bring those in. Or we end up using their storage containers because everyone kind of has different preferences, and that's totally fine. We try to tell people to get glass, but
right.
So, we use what they got. But other than that, we mostly that's it. So we bring in everything we need because we don't want to work in that same situation. And the first thing we do when we get to a client's house is we clear all their counters. Most of them, it's not a big deal. Most of them, it's pretty minimal. But there's been a few places that we've worked where we have to go in and just move some piles of papers, or you go in and just move that appliance or whatever off. And then we do a full wipe down of their kitchen before we even get started to make sure that it's clean surfaces and everything. And then making sure there's no dishes in the sink to start with because you're about to fill it up again. So, starting off like where everything is clean and set up for you. I mean, when you're in a professional kitchen and you open in the morning, you get to walk into a beautifully clean, empty, ready to start kitchen. It should be the same for you when you're cooking at home, because otherwise it's like, you just feel overwhelmed right from the beginning, and that's not fun.
There's a lot of prep that goes into just cooking in general. So that's part of it. Having a organized, clean kitchen is prep for your session.
Yep.
So.
Yeah.
For sure. And there's something about like, oh my God, my lighting. I look like I'm like, whoa, glowing right now. This room is so weird. I got to get a curtain or something. Anyway. Yeah.
I know.
Love it.
I was looking at myself for a long time there. But there's something about like, it's like a blank canvas. Like you're there to create, and you want to be creative and like playful and maybe you're cooking with your kids and you want it to be fun. Like just taking that, 15, 20 minutes to clear everything off, wipe everything down, get your sink clear of dishes, degrease your stove, whatever area.
Yeah.
That's going to be, not only is it way healthier, but it's going to allow you to have more of that creative spirit than just like coming into, I have like a square foot where I can do food prep, and then I've got my bills here or my grandma's doilies or whatever. Not doilies, pot holders.
Yeah, I got you. It's always something. Everyone's got stuff. Everyone's got the catch-all drawer. Everyone has those things.
Oh yeah.
Except us, because we find other places for that. Because this is like our workspace, so it's like it's never that way, or I'll lose my mind. But I would say too, even just making your life, like I'm gonna show you guys our spice situation. One second.
Ooh.
This container right here is just a cheapo IKEA container with a lid. So all of the like dried spices and herbs and stuff are kept in here, so it's a controlled kind of environment. And then in the dark pantry as well. And we blow through spices like crazy fast because we're using them for our clients all the time. But when I need something, I don't have to go and like dig through something, knock things over, try to find it. I just grab the whole bin, and then I'm like, really quickly, if I was really smart, I would label the top, but they burn through too fast.
We go through them very quick.
And so we do have a high turnover, but I would say, like, go through this stuff and see what's old, what needs to get thrown out. These go bad pretty quick. Once the oils have evaporated, they're like done. So, but being able to just grab this really quick and grab what I need if I haven't already taken it out before I started. Like things, just simple things like this. Just grab this, a bin, throw all your stuff in there, and you can get it in and out easily. Like I'm kind of obsessed with all those like home edit Instagram accounts. Like my favorite is, I think they are called Home Edit. They are an LA-based 2-woman crew, and they're amazing. They go into every like celebrity's home and
like reorganize people's kitchens.
But when they do the before and after pantry, it's like incredible. I love it. Because it's like that's every home that we go into has the same pantry. It's always just a little crazy. Sometimes they've made an effort to put things in baskets and really make it easy to find things. But we're always bringing in everything, so we don't use it. I make these like mental picture notes of their home so that when I'm trying to identify some certain areas to, consult someone of how to make their time in the kitchen easier and more fun, I'm going to just recommend these simple little things right off the bat because it just makes all the world difference. So
and storage. I love that. So, and storage of spices too, you kind of touched on that. You keep them covered. They're in the dark. They're not out on a windowsill getting stuck in there. Now you guys go through them fast enough that it probably wouldn't be an issue if they were, but for most people, they're going to have a little jar of fenugreek for like 5 years. So they're not necessarily it's not gonna taste as good. And, we probably could do a whole other episode on this, but a lot of these herbs and spices have medicinal qualities, have really healthful, qualities to them. So they're going to lose their potency if they're sitting out in the light. So that's another really important piece too, is finding ways to have them be stored properly.
Yeah, and that's the same with like our oils and vinegars, all of it. It's like it all has its place in our little tiny pantry. And like I said, everything is very minimal because our space is small, but also just because we burn through stuff so fast that like we just got what we need and that's it. And then, we just keep adding on to that. But same with like the oils, they're only going to be brought out when we're about to cook. Most of the time they're just same thing, stored in the thing that's easy to come out, throw out what we're going to use onto the counter, and then we just go from there. Nice. And then when we're done, we break everything down and clean everything again, and just you're done. Like the accomplishment feeling afterwards when you have all your stuff prepped and in your fridge and your rest of your kitchen is clean, the dishwasher's running and your sink is empty, and you're just like, you feel like amazing to have this fresh start to your week that's like ready to go. So no matter how long, if you're working 10, 12-hour days, like, or you're working from home now and you're like, I don't want to stop mid like project to go in and try to prep them. It's like, you already have it. You can just literally grab it from the fridge, portion out what you want, heat it up, and you're good to go. Like back onto the Zoom call or whatever.
Totally. That's awesome. Yeah, I love that. And I think a lot of people are trying to do more batch cooking, you know, since they are home, they might be trying to like have that be another skill that they have in their kind of wellness belt. So having it be fun is huge. That's so important.
Yeah. And just, it saves so much time. I have friends that are always like, go through all this effort to like make this wonderful meal. And I'm like, you could have just doubled that and you would have saved yourself. Now you have to make a whole other meal for your next meal. Like just double it. Just double everything.
Double everything. That's right. Yeah. Freeze it. If you feel like you don't want to eat it again the next day, fine. Put it in the freezer. Like so much better than a lean cuisine.
We even have little containers that we have used for clients, but we have that we can just portion things out. So when we do make, say we just made a big casserole dish of shepherd's pie, once it's cooled and refrigerated, I'll take it back out, just cut out big grids of it, put it in those containers, and chuck it in the freezer.
Those are really good to have in your kitchen. Yeah, I mean, it changes the game when you have like these nice containers, freeze them, you can throw them in the microwave if you need to.
Yeah,
really
it's like fast food. I don't think people understand that you can still have fast food, like the actual fast food term. Like, it exists. You can make it yourself and control all the quality of ingredients, and like it's so much. You cook once, eat many times.
Yeah.
Invest in the freezer.
Yes, huge. It's huge.
Yeah.
So as far as the actual prep, I know you were setting up a little station that maybe you were going to show us how you set up like your cutting board when you're prepping different things.
Yeah, let's show that. I'll grab the iPad and kind of film it a little bit.
Let me just.
We kind of sprung this on you guys at the last minute.
No, this is good. It might be shaky for a second.
Appreciate this.
Oh, what did I do?
Oh,
you're good.
We still there?
Yep.
Cool.
All right, so point it down a little bit. Always cutting board. This one clearly is stained from herbs. That's okay. This is my home one. We've got a whole pantry full of work ones, but I actually really like these ones. I got them at IKEA. I'm telling you, they've got a few products that are really worth the price. I like these ones because they are the same. What is it? FAS, whatever, food safety standard. They can be washed in the dishwasher and high heat sanitized. And so I love these, and they're a good size. They much bigger than this, and you would kind of like, I feel like you don't want to crowd your surface anyway when you're cutting and prepping. And so much bigger than this, it would start to kind of give you that feel like, oh, I'll just leave everything on the board. And then you'd create
kind of takes.
So this is a good size. And then the first thing I always do is I would get like a little wet paper towel and I would put it on the counter, not dripping wet, just stamped, so that then my board, fold it down just a little more, wouldn't be scooting. It would be like really secure. I could push on it and it wouldn't move. But I also could just use this towel that I would wash like after I was done. So then that would do the same thing.
So that there, can I just interrupt you? Because that right there was the number one thing that I feel like after culinary school that I kept doing, because so many times when you're cooking at home and you're cutting and people don't have sharp knives, so you're pushing really hard with a dull knife, right? And if your cutting board moves on the counter, that's like a heightened injury risk, right? So to have something underneath it that's grippy so that it doesn't slide around on the counter, that's huge. So you can use a wet dish towel, you can use paper towels, and it just adds that extra layer of friction so that it doesn't slide around. I love that. I love that you're talking.
In school, we also had, which I had in my knife bag for a long time, was the, it's kind of that foamy, like that kind of, I don't know what, it's gotta be like silicone or something, but they use it for like drawers, when you layer it in your drawers and so nothing moves around. You just cut them into the piece just a little bit smaller than your cutting board, and you can actually throw those in the dishwasher too, so they're always like being sanitized as well.
Nice.
And those are great because they're reusable. So I'm always about like as much reusable as I can. Because in the chef industry, it's a lot of disposable stuff that gets thrown away and it like kills me. So I'm trying to always be like safe, but also like what can I get away with doing something better?
Nice.
So yeah, this is a great way to do it. The other thing is there are cutting boards that have that little bit of corner grippy or like on one side, and those are great too. We just go through a lot of cutting boards. So that's the other thing is we have a stack of these ones, and because they're super great priced, we just have a giant stack of them. And so anytime that we have to switch tasks, I throw it in the sink and then I get a new one out. So if I have to switch between a protein and a veg, it gets thrown in the sink and a new one comes out. If I cut onions, I'm sure as hell not going to cut an apple or something because it's going to absorb that whole flavor. So having a couple of these is really nice to just chuck away when you're switching tasks. So that's a big one. And then we're going to go into some knives. So number 2, sharp knives. I know it seems so contradictory, like in your brain, like a sharp knife, I'm going to cut myself easier. It's hard to understand that when you have a dull knife, there's a higher risk of cutting yourself, but it's because when it's dull, you have to push harder to get through the product. It can slip off of your product, and so it's just a way higher, situation for cutting yourself. The other thing is, if you have a dull knife versus a sharp knife and you actually cut yourself, the sharp knife, I know this is probably kind of gruesome, but is going to go through cleanly, and you're going to have a much easier later in life getting that healed up, that cut easily. Like, great. If it's a little dull and haggardy when it goes through your finger, it's going to be a harder, longer healing process.
That is such a good point.
So sharp knives are better, even when they cut you.
Yes.
The other thing I would say is before we start, we actually invested in just our own sharpening stones because we just would have to do it all the time and we were paying for it. And you can take your knives. This is another really good tip. You can take your knives to any knife sharpener, and the pretty general cost across the board is always going to be $1 an inch. So for every inch that your knife is, it's just $1. And Sur La Table will do it. I'm sure there's plenty of other like little random ones that do it. There's a lot of trucks that will come up and do it or whatever. Farmers markets have them. And it's really nice because when you're starting out and your knife isn't sharp and you want to sharpen it, you can't actually, quote unquote, sharpen your blade. However, your blade will tend to, as you're holding it, I'm a right-hander and I'm really dominant right-handed. So my blade will always sway to this side a little bit. And so all I need to do is just grab my steel and I just go along one side and then I just check it. I know that's another scary thing for people is just to check it, but you can just check your blade. Like I can even feel when I do that which way I need to sharpen it because it's definitely swaying. It's smooth on one side and sharp on the other, like it'll catch. So I just do that a couple times on the side that I know. But if you're not sure, you could literally just go a few times that way, a few times this way, and you can see the angle's pretty sharp when you're going across, and you go from all the way from the back to the front, and then it gets it super duper sharp and it's ready to go. And this is just bringing that blade back to center. So it's not truly sharpening, it's just bringing your blade back to center. But that's gonna make all the difference in the world because I can now cut through something really easy. And some people just don't even know that, they get their knife sharp and they're like, great. And then they're like a week later, they're like, I don't get it, it's kind of dull. It's like, well, you gotta do it before you start every time. So this is another great thing to just keep in mind, just run it through something. Some people have the whatever sharpeners.
Right.
They're all good and they all serve that perfect purpose. So that's key. Sharp knives is number one. Like it's number one.
Yeah.
Your prep time will be cut in half if you just have a sharp knife. Like
seriously.
Nice pun.
Cut in half. So I have that. I have my board, my towel. A couple other things that are super important and that we could
The immersion blender.
Yeah, that we couldn't cook without is a thermometer. You will never know when your meat is done or fully cooked unless you actually have a thermometer to temp it and find out. And I think we were gonna create or post a little document that says like, here's what your meat should be at and here's how to tell, blah, blah, blah. But I think the biggest thing that people have always said to us is, how is your chicken always so moist? And like, mine's always so dry. And I cook it to, even if they do temp it, they're like, I cook it to 165. And I'm like, did you take it out of the oven at 165? Or because it'll always carry over cooked with all the residual heat that's left into it. So we always pull it out a little early and then I temp it. And if it's at 155 to 160, I'm like, take that out, let it rest, and it's good to go. But I would never know if it was fully done if I didn't temp it. And I do this for a living, and I use this for every piece of meat that leaves our oven. So my sister-in-law called me yesterday and she's like, you're probably gonna be embarrassed, but I had to temp it. And I was like, no, I'm actually really proud of you. Like, you did the right thing. This is what you're supposed to be doing. So
right. It's not like you're failing if you take the temperature of your meat. Like, that's just a really good practice.
That's a pro move. Yeah,
right.
You're good.
Right.
That's awesome. So that's like my second, like, most important thing. And then like some simple other tools that they're not necessary, they're just really nice to have, is like a serrated knife. You know, we don't eat tons of bread, but it's great for cutting tomatoes and other things that could be slippery. This will catch on it very easily, and you can just use less, you know, it's like one long stroke versus having to like chop something a bunch. So that's really nice. And then my boning knife, I use this every single day, but that's also because we're breaking down a lot of chicken. We also are big believers of like, don't throw away free product. And when you buy meat on the bone specifically, you have that bone and skin and whatever else for another future thing, like making broth or whatever. And so not only do we get to like save our clients money by buying the cost of the item goes down by buying it on the bone, but then we can actually in turn use that product for something great and nutritional later. So I have to use this every single day to cut things off the bone, and that's great. But I can get away with using a nice sharp knife again, like a sharp knife if I had to, no big deal. Paring knife is really great for those smaller things. And a zester. I use this every single day. Like, if you're not using the zest from your lemon and limes and your citrus in your cooking, you just threw away more flavor. Like, again, it's like throwing the bones away. Like, it's so much flavor in that, and it's such a great way to impart a citrus bright flavor without having to add the acid to it. So it's nice. Sometimes we'll go in the fridge and there's a bunch of lemons with no zest on them. I'm like, I need that. So we've used just the outside, not the inside for somebody. So that it's really good. And the last thing that's like from our toolkit that I think is a really nice thing for everyone to have is a Y peeler. So most people, I'm like, where's my camera? Most people are used to the long kind of, I don't know what, you know, the long ones that are like, you peel it and it's, you know, got the top.
It looks like this and this, like a little violin bow almost.
I probably have an old one somewhere that I'm like never used, but so those ones actually, they don't stay sharp for very long. And they also, for some reason, the blade, it's like you almost have to have a right-handed or a left-handed one, and you can't like do the back and forth motion as well. And things get caught really easy on the top portion of it. So it has almost like a lip on it, so you can't quite get the right sort of like groove on stuff. These ones are like probably even less in price, and they work so good. They are very sharp. So when you are peeling, like, get your fingernails out of the way. They're very sharp. They stay sharp for a long time, and you can peel stuff so fast and so efficiently because of the design. It holds really nice in your hand. There's little grooves through your fingers. And then like I can peel an entire like butternut squash or like something with a really thick, strong sort of peel. And it's such a safer way to break down something like a squash. You just take all the peel off. You're not trying to use a sharp butcher knife to like break it off and lose all that product. You're just getting the skin off. Like you need a mango, same thing, get this off and then just break it down from there. This will like save you product and time, and it's just awesome. We love these. And these are really fun for like doing carrot ribbons or a zucchini, like flat noodles. Like they're just great. These are like one of my number ones. Love those. Another thing that we use every single day is the immersion blender. Talk about saving dishwashing. This is like number one. Not only like does it just have so much function, so it's got, this one's very well loved, so the button is already like falling through. We have 4 of these motors and stuff because we use them so much, and because we always want to make sure if one like dies, we have an extra. So you just click that on, and then you would buzz it on high or low. That's all there is. And then when you're done, there's a button to release it back, and that's it. So you can move from project to project. Like Another reason we like having a couple of these is so if Ryan's doing like a soup or a sauce over there and then I'm making pesto or something, I can grab another one, just attach really quick, and then we can go to the next like project or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We also use it for bullet coffee pretty much every morning. So like buzz real quick and it's done.
Nice.
So,
yes. Perfect for bulletproof coffee.
aioli, making any kind of mayo, any kind of sauce, any kind of emulsified dressing, like Caesar, anything that you want to have that nice thick consistency. These will do it in like a second. They're so nice. And who wants to break down a Vitamix? Like like I love that thing. I love my Vitamix, but I gotta get it out. It's heavy. I gotta wash the stuff. Like this is so nice. I'm like, I just blended the soup in the pot I cooked it in and it's done. So I didn't have to wash something and get out a whole nother appliance, which I'm a fan of. So that's crucial. A really cool thing that I used to always just use mason jars to make dressing, but I had a client who had one of these at her home and she had bought it and was like, hey, if you could just like store it like in this when you're done making it, that'd be awesome. And I was like, oh, this thing is so cool. So it's OXO. It's just the OXO brand. And obviously it's well used. It used to be see-through, but lots of roughing and shaking. It's got ounce measurements and then cups and milliliter, metric too. But it's really nice because I kind of have I just eyeball my vinaigrettes. And so for me, once I add my solid stuff, so if I've added like spices or the lemon zest and juice in the bottom and then whatever, then I just know I go up another couple lines with my vinegar and then I go up a little bit further for my oil and I'm pretty much good. And then I just shake the bejesus out of it and it's ready to go. And you can just store it in the fridge. Even if you have like, you use a fat, maybe like coconut oil where it's solidified, all I do is just put this in some hot water for a minute. It comes right back to life. And the harder I shake it, the faster it comes back to emulsified and really nice and easy to pour. So these are really great and they can just store your stuff in the fridge for a long time. Like I have one vinaigrette that's been there for like a month and it's still wonderful.
Nice.
So these are really cool if you just want to mix up something really quick. It's nice because you can kind of start gauging for yourself the dump and pour and taste method. These make it really easy.
And making your own salad dressing is just one of those so once people know how to do it, it's so easy and it's like so much healthier and so much cheaper than buying bottles of stuff with corn syrup and soybean oil and disgusting whatever sugars in it, It's
always they never use the good oil. So it's like, I can't buy dressing ever. People have to make it every single time because I can use whatever nice, good quality fats I want in it. Otherwise I'm like, there's no point. I'm never buying any of that. So
yeah,
you're really good at it. And my sister-in-law actually was one of those same people that I showed her how to do it a couple times. And she was like, I didn't even know you could do it this easy. I'm like, if you have something with an airtight lid, you can make a dressing. It's that easy.
totally.
So that one's really nice. And then this parchment paper, I actually really like this brand in particular. I order it by like big caseloads on Amazon. Just because we go through it really fast, but it's got 70 feet, but it's like unbleached. It's got all the free everything, free chlorine, free everything, it's all the checks along the box. But the other reason I love it is because it's really nice and thin. It's very flexible. And we use this for everything, literally every pan we have. This is a sheet pan that everyone and their moms has in their house, and look at it. It looks brand new. It's not. Like if I showed you some of the other ones, all of the edges and very corners will have like the clear it's been used look. But for the most part, because we use parchment every single time we use these parchment or these sheet trays, it saves us. And all you got to do is just throw away the parchment at the end. And not only will your product come out better because it didn't have anything to stick to, you didn't lose any product to your pan, you don't have to scrub for an hour afterwards. It's so nice. So I just sanitize it afterwards, clean it a little bit if there's any residual in there, sanitize it, and it's done. Like it's super fast.
Amazing.
So this stuff is literally a lifesaver. I tell everyone, I'm like, do not put anything on a sheet tray without this. And even sometimes like we use it for storing stuff. So if we want to separate things as we're portioning them out or as we're like dropping off at a client's house. Like if I've made little individual chicken parms or something and I can lay them in a single layer, put some parchment on it, another layer, another, so like that. And then you can put it in your freezer or whatever and it doesn't stick. It's really nice. We use it for cookie doughs and flavored butters. We just roll up in a log and use that. nothing sticks to it. So like, it's amazing.
And so much healthier than aluminum foil. Like a lot of people are trying not to cook with aluminum foil, or even if they have like old aluminum pans like that, they maybe don't want to put their foods right on there. The parchment paper is that nice little barrier to help you keep you from absorbing aluminum. So that's brilliant.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. It's my favorite thing. I had to tell my girlfriend that the other day again. I was like, are you not using parchment? And she's like, roasting tomatoes. I'm like, they're all going to stick to your pan. Like, oh. Or even just like if you're making a meatloaf and you have a casserole pan, like a glass like Pyrex, what we do is we'll spray it with a little bit of like olive oil, and then I'll lay a piece of that in it, and then spray it one more time, and then dump in whatever I'm cooking. And then after it comes out and it sits and cools for a minute, I can literally lift it out with the parchment paper, and then it's out in a second without ripping it up or having it stick to anything. Like, bakers have been using it forever for that reason. And like the reason, like, I don't know why no one else decided to use it for other cooking functions, but we do.
Love it.
This is not really like super ideal. I mean, you don't, are necessary. We just have a lot of them. They're like cooling racks, or if you want to pair it with the sheet tray, it can help you get more of a crispy texture because there's air going underneath it, especially with people that don't have a convection oven like most of us. It allows you to have a little bit more circulation on all sides of your food, which is really nice. So something's not like sitting in its juices and all that if you don't want it to. It's a nice option. And then also when we take stuff out of the oven, again, with the chicken parm, like we make really healthy, crazy good chicken nuggets for kids. And I want them to remain crispy and they're not fried. And so in order to like keep that texture crispy, if I can put them on this to like cool, they don't get soggy on the bottom. So that's really nice.
Do you put the paper on top of the mesh, or?
No. So when I do the chicken nuggets, I just do parchment on just the plain pan, and I bake them. And then I take them out, I flip them over and throw them back in like really high temperature. And then as soon as they come out and I can like use anything to get them off, I like quickly put them on the cooling rack. So then they can cool and not get steamy, and then everything turns to soft.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And then this is literally just what we would, well, technically it's a quarter sheet pan, but it's half of this one in the size. And so a lot of times, like, because we do meal prep, we're doing a lot of things all at once. And so Ryan will be on the stovetop doing some soups, some sauteed items, some grains, whatever he's got going on. I'll have thrown in some chicken breasts on here that I'll later like shred for super salad. I have those in, and then I have another half tray with like same toasty nuts or something else. Like, it's nice to have a couple different sizes, because I can fit two of these side by side with two different things on them on one shelf, and then I can fit a large one on the bottom of something else. And like in this kitchen we have here, it's a very standard home kitchen. So there's no frills, no convection oven, no gas. Like, we've got real standard stuff in this one. So I feel like it's nice to share how we're cooking professionally in a non-professional kitchen.
Yeah.
So like to everyone who's like, but how do I do all these at once? It's like, trust, I can show you.
That's right. That's right.
So this is a nice way to do that, because you can have multiple things going at once, which is really nice. And then I think that's pretty good for like some of the most basic. Oh, I have one more. We have a salad spinner.
Love the salad spinner.
The bigger the better, because I can't even tell you, I have to do only like one bunch of kale at a time, and that's annoying. But if I had a larger one, I could do two. Or lettuce, you know, like I'm doing a whole pack of, like a 3-pack of romaine to do this nice, beautiful big entree salad for someone, and I have to like do this 3 times. Is kind of annoying. However, we had the push model, and Ryan was like, I don't like this anymore. I want to get the pull. And so now we have the pull one, night and day. I'm telling you, it's these little things you don't think about, but I couldn't get the leverage from my height on the push one to spin it properly and fast enough. And so my lettuce kept coming out a little too wet. And then if you have too wet a lettuce or greens, they go bad so fast. And so, little tip, the string one, you can really just go crazy.
Amazing. I did not know that existed, actually. That's
hilarious. My grandmother used to have this model, and I was always like, oh, that's so random. I never even thought of it. And then I got the push one thinking, oh, just get on there. I can't get high enough above it because I'm so short. So I was like, this is like, love Gigi. But we wash every single green, all of our herbs, everything. We wash first and rinse first. Even if it comes in a bag, usually it says like pre-washed or whatever. If it's in a whole head form of any kind, we're washing it, and we're gonna, you know, if someone's eating it raw, like we have to take our own sanitations, again, all of those things we have to take into consideration. So this for us is a huge one. And we buy a lot of stuff from the farmer's market, and it's all amazing and organic and wonderful, but it does still have a lot of earth still attached sometimes. So it's nice to have something to clean that off. Lots of people, I'm sure, are just buying bagged stuff that's like pre-washed, and that's fine. But yeah, so these are some basics that are very, very helpful.
Love it.
And then, of course, good pots and pans, which we have over there. We always used our clients, which was really nice, but embarrassingly enough, in our home kitchen, we didn't have really great pots and pans for a long time. Hand-me-down things. We did get rid of a lot of things like nonstick, things that weren't healthy and serving us well, but for the most part, we were just using what we had until we could get what we really wanted. And now we just finally were, a couple years ago, able to buy the all-clad like 10-piece set, which is ideal for any kitchen. Every client of ours already had it in their home. It's super nice. You don't need any other
stainless steel one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The stainless steel all-clad. It's called 10 pieces, but that includes the lids too. So it's really like, you know, how to get ya.
God.
It's got an extra like saute pan and everything else has the lids. You're like, okay.
So,
I know, I'm like, that's cheating, but
yeah.
it does count, I guess. But it's really nice because you can literally, it gives you the most perfect sizes that we're using every day to make our clients' food. So like I can attest that it does and has all the sizes to do all the functions you would need. So it's pretty nice.
Nice.
We have a couple like glass Pyrex.
Big cast irons.
We've got some nice Lodge pans that are really nice. And bowls. Having some nice big mixing bowls of different sizes, or nesting bowls. Those we use every single day too. And other than that, some boxes of gloves. Those are the things.
Right. That's so great. That's so great. Well, so as far as like looking for some of those things online, like the hotel pans, the sheet pans and half pans and quarter pans, do you think people can find those like at IKEA online, or where would you recommend people shop if they don't have those pans?
I think the sheet trays we actually just get at the restaurant supply store, and they're really reasonably priced. I think most people don't know to actually check their local restaurant supply place, and it's a really good place to start.
Yeah.
They have everything you would ever need.
Nice.
For baking of any kind, and they're actually really well priced. So it's a good place to start. I will say for IKEA, it's all about like the cutting boards.
I mean, you got to be careful with IKEA.
Yeah.
Because they do make a lot of great stuff, but a lot of it is really cheap.
Yeah.
Especially in the kitchen section, it's kind of cheap in there, but there are some really good stuff. But yeah, the restaurant supply store in your town, it's a great look. Yeah, for sure.
Could literally just Google it, like Google restaurant supply.
Yeah.
In Hawaii, you guys have the spoon shop. It is amazing.
Oh my God, I love the spoon shop. That's where we get all of our olive oil. Speaking of fancy salad dressings, I don't know if you knew this, but you can get a drum. It's like one of those that you would see if you were like in the Mediterranean in one of those little mom and pop shops where we used to get where it's just like a metal, I don't know, what do you call it? It looks like an oil can.
With the handle.
Yeah. And it's like 5 gallons or something of olive oil, and it lasts forever. You know, keep it in the dark. Don't have your stove top so it's getting you just refill our little our glass thing, and it's so good. After living in Greece for a year, I
know. You guys are lovely. That was a good tip that you just said. We try to tell people to do that too. Like, buy the larger, you're going to get a better price, and then refill your smaller glass bottle and just have that out. Like,
that's what we do.
We do that a lot, so we don't have to lug all the like monster sizes. Like the avocado oil from Costco is amazing, but I'm like, it's so heavy to lug to his house. Like, just refill the small one. It works good.
Totally. Oh, so great, you guys. I feel like this was like the literal definition of pro tips, this whole episode. I'm so excited for people to see it. Yeah. And so we'll put in the show notes how to reach you. And when you get your projects going for the home cooks and for the professional cooks, let me know. I definitely want to signal boost the hell out of those, because that's so it's just so important. And the way that you approach it, I feel like people can really relate to. You know, you don't seem like some grumpy French chef in a kitchen. You're like a normal person that people can relate to, and you want to make it fun, which is so important.
Yeah. Well, like kind of the thing that hit us quite a few years ago about kind of, not to give it away, but kind of what we're working on is we've been in the food industry both of our whole lives. And it's easy to get into that industry, do very well, but you can get trapped very easily.
Yes.
And we've discovered a way to, you know, not necessarily get out of it, but another avenue that a lot of food workers don't know about. So we're really excited to share how we did it with everybody else, and just encourage people to maybe that might be an avenue that they might be interested in. So,
and just like having a lot of friends that are nutritional therapy practitioners, and then they put all their clients on these protocols, and then the client goes home and has no idea what to do, or they're like, I can only eat 10 foods now. And I'm like, no.
Right.
Sure, you can have many more than that. It's just a very small list they've given you, but there's so many other foods you can have. And to be able to have people, a sort of person in between, that middleman, to actually come in and make the food for the clients, they can actually get the results from the protocol that they're like spending so much time and money and energy on to achieve this like healing result. If they don't implement the food and the cooking part, which is like number one, they're not going to get that. And that's so sad that like, we don't like to always be the one that has to do it though, because there's only 2 of us and there's only a handful of days we can actually work, and we can only take on 2 families a day. So we cap really quickly, and we just want to train many, many more chefs on the fact that like, you can do this too. Like, it's really wonderful, and there's a massive need for it, and it doesn't exist. So we really share like our business model and our structure with other chefs so that we can start training more people and get this field bigger, so that we can have those people to help you guys with your protocols. Because I wish I could fly all over the world and do it for people every week, but it's not going to happen.
Right.
So
right.
we need people, every city, every state, to be able to do this, and it's just not the case. So
yeah. I love it. I love it. Yeah, I know. I wish I could clone you guys and have you here too, but
see?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. It is. And that is the huge, you know, that's the biggest piece, is being able to cook at home or have somebody, you know, prepare that food for you. Because a lot of times people, you know, when they have food allergies or they're on a healing protocol, they can't go out and they can't get takeout because you can't know what's in every single ingredient. And, you know, I know, being people who have food allergies, going to restaurants, it's like, you're that person sitting at the restaurant, like waiting for the server to come back after they are looking through the chef's recipe book in the back. Like, oh my God, I don't know. Does this have tomatoes? Does this have eggs? Like, I don't want to poison my customer, but also like I have 10 other tables or whatever, you know, it's like, it's stressful. It's stressful for sure. So I just love the work that you guys are doing, and just so excited to hopefully have you back and talk about more of these types of things. But for now, I think, we'll wrap up. And if anyone has questions for Mara and Ryan, you can shoot them, you know, a message or find them on social media. And if you're in Austin, you know, you do have a couple more spots for families for personal chef, 2 more right now. Okay. All right, get on it. Thanks.
You guys can always email us at 2chefs.food@gmail.com too.
Perfect. All right, awesome. Thanks so much, y'all. All right.